Hey guys, let's talk about the Boker Rambler today. This is a little small EDC fixed blade knife, which I'm really into those right now, by the way, guys. I really just like the small fixed blades. It's really working for me right now with my current system. So let's open this bad boy. I actually have already opened it and I've been using this for a while, but I put it back so you guys can kind of see how it comes. It comes in a nice little box here with your, kind of warranty card, a little foam protector. Foam inserts to hold the knife. So if this is, I know some guys really like to store their knives in the original packaging, and so this is a definite plus for those guys, because I know a lot of people, like, you get a knife in a clamshell package, and then you take it out and you have nowhere to put it except, I know a lot of people do like knives that do come in this kind of display box. So if that's important to you, that is something I did want to note. You got your leather sheath, which we'll take a look at real quick. We'll pull this knife out of here. This is actually really dense foam too. I'm kind of surprised for being that expensive knife. This is only like 25 bucks on Amazon. So we'll do the sheath real quick, then we'll move on to the knife. Simple fold over leather sheath, nothing amazing about it. You can see it's pretty much just folded over and stitched in a couple different areas. Stitching's not perfect. There's a couple little mistakes in there, but nothing to get bent out of shape about. Knife fits in. Very deep fit, so that part of the handle is covered. It's got very good retention. That's not coming out, so that is a good plus. It's very rare that knives have good retention these days. It just seems like sheaths are always just done so badly. And so let's take a look at the knife. What you have here is a very small fixed blade. You're talking like, what is this, like less than 5 inches overall length, like a two-inch blade. We're not, who cares about the exact numbers, guys? Little tiny little guy, 440C stainless steel G10 handles. This thing has a little lanyard hole in the back. Nice little hollow grind on this thing here. Overall, this is a decent little knife for the money, 25 bucks. Yeah, there's other knives out there, and there's other cheaper knives and all that, but what I do like is it does have that nice deep carry sheath. So if you are carrying it on the belt, it's something that will fit very easy and very comfortably for everyday carry, which is kind of what I got this for. I didn't get this to be a camp knife or whatever. I got this for everyday carry. Fits in the hand fairly well. You can see you're only going to get about 3 fingers on this thing. A little bit of a ramp there for the thumb. Too bad they didn't have a little jimping on there. I think that would have helped the knife a little bit. And of course, the lanyard's right there, and you can see where my pinky is. For my hand size, just a little tiny pinky lanyard would actually do this knife a world of good. I think the G10's a little slippery for me. Too bad it didn't come with other options, because it is kind of a really nice little knife. Apparently the ghosts have just turned on my son's toy train, so you'll hear that in the background there. So as I mentioned, this thing's 440 steel, not the best steel on earth, not the worst steel on earth. It holds a pretty good edge, very corrosion resistant. So if you're wearing this on your belt day in, day out, you aren't going to have to worry so much about corrosion. It's, just keep it oiled when you can, and, as long as you're not exposing it to really nasty stuff, you should be good. 440C holds a good enough edge for me for everyday carry. I have no issue with it for that. And pretty much I've been wearing it on the belt a little bit. And, every couple of days or so, I just kind of strop it for 20-30 seconds. Throw a little oil on it afterwards. And then pretty much still looks good as new. Now, when I first got it, it was hair shaving sharp. It's probably a little bit less than that now. We'll see, because it has seen a lot of office use. So we'll find a patch of fur here. And you can see it does shave hair. It was definitely sharper when I got it, so I do want to point that out as well. So overall, guys, not a bad little find for 25 bucks. There's a lot of little EDC knives on the market, and the shame is that a lot of them are very badly done. They have very poor fitting handles, they have terrible sheaths. There's a lot of garbage on the marketplace as far as small EDCs, and this one is nice. In fact, when it comes to the that $20 to $30 price range, this is a very strong contender. The Condor ones are good. Some of the cold steel ones are pretty decent, you know, but this thing's kind of a nice, you know, it has a really nice look to it. Really nice polished finish on the blade. The G10 looks nice. You know, everything kind of looks nice, and it does have a pretty good, stable fit in the hand, guys. It's not, it doesn't feel like this is something where if I really had to bear down, it's going to go flying out of my hand. I really kind of feel secure in holding this. It has that little bit of a swell to it, so it really kind of locks in there nice. I do enjoy it. Now, let's talk about, real quick, I could probably go on for like 30 minutes on this. Let's talk about small blade for EDC. We'll zoom in here and stare at this little guy while we're talking. Small blade for EDC. I've really grown to like it over the past probably about year that I've been doing it. I've carried a couple different knives, CRKT Spew, one of the Condor knives, I forgot which one I have, but I've carried quite a few of them over the past year and really enjoyed it. Number one, when you're in an office environment, I think a folding knife can be a big distraction. Number one, you're going to pull it out. They usually have a pretty strong click to them, and that can draw people's attention. Number two, if you're trying to use it one-handed and you do flick the knife open, that can draw attention too. And you know what happens when you work in an office environment. There's always one crybaby liberal who's going to run to the boss, oh, he's got a knife. So, you know, I try to avoid that drama whenever I can. And plus the other thing too is whenever someone else borrows a knife, it seems like nobody ever knows how to work a liner lock. So they end up handing the knife back to you open, and that, of course, draws a ton of attention too, you know, like you hand someone a knife, they open it, then they hand it back to you, like, with the blade out. So I do kind of like this because I can kind of hide it better, you know, it sits on my belt, it's a lot more accessible and a lot quicker. If I did have to use this in a defensive situation, I can get this out a lot quicker and deploy it a lot quicker. And I can also do it one-handed. Now, okay, you're going to say, well, if you're practiced with a folding knife, okay, that's all well and good, but in a situation where you may be bloody, sweaty, rainy, snowy, whatever, trying to pull a pocket knife out of your pocket and flip it open under, you know, intense stress, possible injury, or threat of death, there's a lot of room for error there. I do like this, and that you can just pull this out, and it's good to go. And plus, too, say I am doing something in the office and I have to cut something, I can pull this out, cut it, put it right back in the sheath. Nobody's any of the wiser. Nobody notices. There's nothing to hear. There's no me opening, closing things. And lots of times what happens is, say I am cutting something on my desk, I can just kind of pop that out, you know, right at my belt, do what I got to do, pop it right back in. There's no movement, nothing. It's just very, very quiet, which I like. And not to mention, it's just, you know, it's a big, nice, thick blade, so it's not a cheap blade. You know, the thickness runs almost all the way up to the very end. The point isn't too thin, so it's got a lot of good things going for it. You know, that hollow grind is going to make it a really good slicer. You know, I've done a bunch of different stuff around the office, cut a lot of paper, cut up some cardboard boxes, stuff like that. Very typical EDC stuff. And like I said before, strop this thing every so often, and you really won't ever even have to sharpen it. You know, it's 440C. It's got pretty good characteristics. So as long as you keep on it, you know, keep a strap somewhere, you know, a little piece of wood with a piece of leather on it, loaded with some compound. Just every so often, give it 10-20 seconds on the strap, and it will stay pretty close to new, you know. You'll probably have to sharpen it eventually, but hey, you know. But as far as everyday carry, you know, if you're going to carry a knife like this and keep it sharp, having a strap, you know, nearby is very, very helpful. So there it is, guys, the Boker Rambler. I think this is a terrific little small EDC option if you are into that kind of thing. It's not for everyone. I know that, you know, it took a lot of warming up for me to get into it, but now that I'm doing it, I really like it. I really enjoy it, and I don't foresee myself going back to a normal folding knife anytime soon.